children wade in the water. Gods are gonna trouble the water. See that band all dressed in white. Gods are gonna trouble the water. The leader looks like the Israelite. Gods are gonna trouble the water. Ooh, wade in the water. Oh, wade in the water. Children, wade in the water. God is gonna trouble. Gods are gonna trouble the water. Oh, see that band all dressed in red. Gods are gonna trouble the water. Ooh, it looks like the band that Moses led. Gods are gonna trouble the water. Oh, whoa, whoa, wade in the water. Oh, wade in the water. Children, wade in the water. God is gonna trouble, yes he will. The water. Oh.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hold up, hold up, la la la. Hold up, hold up. Listen, I don't lie to you. You know when I'm grieving. Don't lie to me. I know what you're feeling. Please talk to me. I know you know that you can be real. You can be real with me. I don't lie to you. You know when I'm grieving. Don't lie to me. I know what you're feeling. Please talk to me. I know you know that you can be real. You can be real with me. As long as you follow me, talk, I go read you. No matter how lost I go find you. No matter how far you go. You go. As long as you follow me, talk, I go read you. No matter how lost I go find you. No matter how far you go. Listen, exaggerated your picture of how bad you think you've been. Yes, I hate it, but I found a way. I'll never ever leave. My love is real. Don't ever doubt it. You can be real. You can be real with me. As long as you follow me, talk, I will read you. No matter how lost I go find you. No matter how far you go, you go. As long as you follow me, talk, I will reach
Indeed, we're invading your space this morning to talk about health. Let Me In 121 Seller is the record you just listened to. 24 minutes gone past the hour of 10, and it's about time we talk about health. Welcome to Solutions Clinic this morning. My name is Vic Richards. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. I can't say same for Arsenal fans, but I do believe that it's all for good. Well, I don't know why Doc is pinching me. Good morning to you, Doc. Great to have you join us. Are you an Arsenal fan?
I am.
Oh, wow. Sorry.
I've been since 1992,
Oh,
and
wow.
I've been waiting year in, year out.
I guess you still have to wait more.
I have to, I have a choice.
Well, I hope your BP is okay.
Well, it's been, I accepted since the day Aston Villa beat us home anyway.
All right.
That very home match that we lost 0-2, I
Mm.
knew that we have lost the season.
Oh, wow.
Because you can't wait for Man City to lose. It's crazy.
Absolutely.
You can't. You can't. You just win your matches, do your assignment. If you want to compete with Man City, be ready to win everything winnable.
Right.
But praying for them to lose is a prayer that will not be answered.
Well, if an Arsenal fan is speaking like this, I think we already know the fate of Arsenal. But don't give up. Hmm? Gunners, right?
Yes. Gunners for life.
You guys are gone.
We are not. Excuse me, we are second in the league. Oh, man.
Well,
We beat Man U. home and away.
well,
Okay, no, we beat them away. I think we drew up. We are good, sir.
well. For some of you,
Man City, they couldn't beat us home and away. We beat them in our home front. We drew in their home front.
all these things are consolation. But be that as it may, second place is not a bad thing either. So, but for some of you who are already dealing with BP, we want to help you this morning and have that conversation. So this morning we're going to be talking about hypertension. By the way, we're streaming live on Facebook as well as YouTube at Solutions 939. So be a part of the conversation by joining in and reacting, sending questions via that platform. You can also send it to the WhatsApp line, which is 0904 422 2939. Hypertension, commonly known as high blood pressure, is a medical condition characterized by elevated blood pressure levels in the arteries. This condition occurs when the force of blood against the walls of the arteries is consistently too high. Hypertension is often referred to as the silent killer because it may not present noticeable symptoms in the early stages, yet it can lead to severe health complications over time. According to the National Institute of Health, the overall age standardized prevalence of hypertension was 38.1%, and this varied across the different geopolitical zones in Nigeria, while an estimated 1.3 billion people are living with hypertension worldwide. Regular monitoring, lifestyle modifications such as healthy diet and regular exercise, and when necessary, medical intervention are crucial in maintaining hypertension and preventing complications. Early detection and proactive management play key roles in maintaining cardiovascular health and overall well-being. May 17 has been set aside to celebrate World Hypertension Day, and the theme for this year's celebration is measure your blood pressure accurately, control it, and live longer. Joining me this morning is Dr. Chukwuma Okoli. Good morning to you, Doc, once again.
Good morning.
All right. So let's start off with what we've known, the very popular phrase or statement that hypertension is a silent killer.
Yes, hypertension is a silent killer in quite a lot of ways. Now let's look at the potential organs that could be affected by the high blood pressure. Number one is the brain. When the pressure is elevated in the veins, then it means that, in the brain, what it means when there's hypertension, it means that the pressure at which blood supplies to the brain is increased. And if the pressure is increased, it means that the blood gets to the brain at a higher force. It could make the blood vessels to burst. And that is an hemorrhagic stroke. Another thing is it could lead to constriction. Constriction is like a tightening, kinking, or blockage of the blood vessels. If that happens, it will lead to an ischemic stroke because there will be no blood flow beyond the point of the blockage. The heart is another organ. The heart itself can fail when the pressure is too much for it to function. Okay. That's heart failure from hypertension. Okay, that's systemic heart failure. Okay, so now when this happens, the the life is lost as a result of it. Another organ nearby is the kidney. When pressure hits the kidney at higher force, it can lead to kidney failure. And we know in this country that once the kidneys are gone, that life is gone.
Absolutely.
Now, aside from these three, we have a lot of others that can happen. So hypertension is a silent killer because it doesn't give you symptoms in most cases. Yes, I've had to examine people. I'm still grateful to God for people who still have headaches, poor sleep, feeling of unwellness. It means their body still reserves the checkmate feeling that tells you, check this.
Check
I
your
can't
blood
sleep,
pressure.
check this. A lot of people are roaming around and telling themselves in Yoruba language, "Nkankan ò ṣe mí, there is nothing wrong with me, I'm fine." But you check them, you realize that their blood glucose level is high. Oh, that story for another day. Their blood pressure is high. So it is a silent killer until it damages the brain, until it damages the heart, until it damages the kidneys, until it damages other organs in the body. It will just just stay there. If you don't check it, you don't get to know. So it is truly a silent killer.
Very succinctly said. Well, let's talk about the adverse effect to high blood pressure to the heart and, the blood vessels. I saw a video this morning of Aproko doctor. He was also, educating Arsenal fans as well about this, and he used the heart image to perfectly describe it. I wish we had that.
Yes. Okay, now this is it. The Igbo says whoever blows the pipe cleans his nose. Yes, meaning that as you are blowing pipe, remember to take care of yourself as you are servicing other people.
Right.
The heart is the organ that services the whole body. It is the organ that pumps blood. Now, are you aware that no matter what you do, your heart keeps pumping? Whether you are asleep, awake, resting, playing games, watching football matches, watching Nigeria play or Arsenal play, because those are the two teams that once they play tension. Honestly, I didn't watch Arsenal Everton. I didn't watch it because the last time they beat us, 1-0 at Everton, they beat us. So I was like, these are game spoilers. I'm telling you. And even Arsenal, mind you, I didn't watch it, but we funnily happened to beat them at Old Trafford. Okay, now, so when the heart pumps blood, it services itself through the coronary arteries. And the coronary artery is about the first branch of the aorta. So once the blood is flowing out into the system, it saturates the coronary artery, which supplies the heart muscle itself so that the heart will be able to function well. And that is it. Now, when the pressure is much, there is constriction, there is kinking, there is narrowing of the space for blood to flow. The pipe becomes smaller because of increased pressure. This can actually block the coronary arteries because they are tiny, tiny arteries. So it can lead to blood not flowing appropriately well. That is one. Number two, as a result of the high pressure with which blood is transmitted or flown around, there's something called hypertensive heart disease. The heart muscles begin to increase in size. There is left ventricular hypertrophy. It could be bilateral, it could be just the left or both of them. Now you have cardiomyopathies can result as a result of this. And this means that blood flow around the heart itself is now compromised. And as a result of this, you can have angina, you can have ischemia or cardiac infarction. That is, the heart muscle dies. And if it dies, then the heart starts failing, and that will lead to ultimate death. So that is how hypertension can cause the heart to fail.
So why does that increase, happen in the blood vessel?
Thank you. Now, a lot of times, hypertension is primary, essential, unknown. Yes, that's why we say there are types of hypertension. It's just that, we're trying to discuss here, talking the medical from the social aspect, because that's the most important thing,
Absolutely.
how it affects life. So we're not here to teach medical people what is primary, essential, hypertension and secondary. Now, hypertension, the primary one is essential, the cause is unknown, it just happens. The secondary one is when there is a condition in the system that will now cause the BP to rise. Okay. Now, in most cases, we have primary causes. That means you just don't know. The blood pressure increases. Now, it could be stress, okay, physical stress, emotional stress, work schedule. It could be from feeding, people who take lots of junks, okay, and then hyperlipidemia, and that is excess cholesterol in the blood. And when there is excess cholesterol in the blood, it now enters in the bloodstream and tries to reduce the space, the flow for which blood to pass across. And when, look at it, this is the space of a blood vessel.
Okay.
And because of cholesterol blocking this way, you see, it has narrowed the space with which the blood will flow. Now imagine pressure of blood flowing through this. Now it has to manage itself through this small hole. That means the pressure will be more. It's just like a dam. When you dam water, if you dam water, the flow becomes turbulent. When you open the dam through that small space, it becomes turbulent. And you have to be careful that the dam you are building is very strong, otherwise the water will blow the dam away and will lead to flooding. That has happened several times. We had of flooding because water overflow the dam and all that and all that. So that's exactly the way it is in the body. So if there are reasons why the blood flow is not adequate, that is a blockage from one thing or the other, it can lead to a high blood pressure. Apart from lifestyle, and poor sleep is also involved. So these are nitty-gritty of it that makes the blood pressure to rise. And when the blood pressure rises, you call that hypertension. And before you can even make your assessment of hypertension, you would have recorded high blood pressures greater than systolic of 140 over diastolic of 90 in more than 2 different occasions before you can now make your diagnosis and say this person has a high blood pressure. Now, let me say this at this point. Nigerians, lots of you have been told at one point that your blood pressure was high.
Okay.
Probably you went through an issue. Probably you were not feeling well, and for that reason you were told, sir, your BP is high. And you're like, I don't need to have blood pressure. I don't need to have. That doesn't mean you should just forget about that. Yes, you don't used to have. But for once at that point you were told the BP was high, it is necessary for you to revisit and have a recheck to be sure. It is better for us to check and be told no problem than for the problem to come and you are now looking for a solution. Most times, some of these things, once they come, they hardly go away. So it is best to prevent it than to manage it.
Very well. I'm meant to understand that BP is very common in men. For women, it's until menopause.
No, not until menopause. Of course, I forgot to talk about obesity and some other factors. Yes,
the risk factors.
Risk factors.
Okay,
yeah.
let's address some other risk factors. Then we move into why it's very prevalent in men.
Okay. Yes, I've addressed the risk factors: the lifestyle, the food, the diseases in the body, diabetes, and co that can cause it. Okay. Yes. So, I talked about the work and the stress of work, emotional issues. I watched a video of a lady drinking hypo. Did you see that video?
Why?
I don't know. Like, she literally made a video of herself. She tore the hypo and drank it. I later learned it's because of an issue she had with her, probably her fiance or something, and she's having a heartbreak. And I told myself...
So it was an attempt to suicide?
I thought it was. I never even... Though there was no follow-up on that anyway, so we don't know if she survived or not. But, you see... I don't know what to say, but look, it's not the end of life. Yes, I learned something from my dear friend. He says, keep moving. So we all go through stresses. We all go through stuff that makes us unhappy. We all have issues with sleep at one point or the other. So we should always find a way to go around it. Okay, so the stress of the Nigerian economy is enough stress that can push the blood pressure up. Okay, and the poor sleep. Now, for those of you who are lovers of junk food, shawarma, whatever, all those stuffs, you will increase the cholesterol in your bloodstream, and that will lead to blockage of your blood vessels that can cause stroke. It can cause hypertension. So these are things that we need to. And excessive salt eating. Some people, no matter how much you cook, they will still tell you there is no salt in it. They will pick salt and drop directly on the food. All these things increases the blood pressure. So we have to be aware of it. The most important thing, looking at the World Hypertension Day, says check your blood pressure. Just the way we used to scream here every time, drink water. Yes, I'm also saying this morning, check your BP. As much as you remember to drink water, as much as you remember to take in a breath, breathe in and out, check your blood pressure. Don't say you are too young. I have seen 17-year-old with hypertension. So yes, and everybody in this room, we are much above 17 years of age. So who is immune? Nobody. Check your blood pressure. It is very essential.
For men.
Yes. Now
Why?
you're talking about men. The reasons are quite obvious. We take up the risky jobs. We take up the lengthy jobs. We take up, yes. That's why you see, if you're driving, if you're living in Lagos and you have to step out of your house by 3 a.m., just make a brief assessment. How many women are out there? It's mostly men. They're the ones driving out at 3 a.m., rushing to work. They're the ones doing the stuff. It's not that women don't. They do. But the history is more with men. Men, and that's it. Men die faster because we take up the stressful part of life and all that. So that's it. And that's why men are the ones that come down with hypertension the most. The woman will stay at home, take care of the kids. Easy, though stressful, slow and steady. Ours is the fast and furious. And now, fast and furious, now they bring BP come. So we always should know that. And then you can't change it because this is what the culture preaches. But then, as you're doing fast and furious, remember to also check your blood pressure along the line. And then we all have devices that check now. We have even this little smartwatch I'm putting on has a BP check, and I've checked it with the normal one. So when our blood pressure goes up, I will get to know from this. We have other devices that can be strapped to the hands. So it's not until you go to the hospital before you can check your blood pressure. The digital sticks are available. You can buy them and then strap it to your hand and press it and take the reading yourself. Now we have the social media that is just internet in your house. You can check your blood pressure and right there and then communicate with your health personnel, and you get a review for it, and you go on. So you don't necessarily need to visit the hospital before you can check yourself. You can check on the go and get every necessary advice you need, and you move on with your life.
Those kits are accurate because there's been argument about the accuracy of the kits as well.
True. There are arguments. Even the best or most quality of those kits, by the time you check them with the aneroid one that you have to check, there might be a little difference, but most times it shouldn't be more than 10 millimeter of mercury.
Okay.
And so if you're getting 170 and you now get 180, 170, 180, they are equally the same. So you have to take an action. If you're getting 110, 120, they are within the same range. 80, 90, same range. So it shouldn't be more than 10. But when you're getting 20, 30 difference, then it's not ideal. Most times, just check if it's the one that uses battery. Check and have the batteries changed. So that's just have to be proactive about this, but really they are quite effective.
All right. Well, you're listening to Solutions Clinic this morning on the Remedy Dial Solutions 93.9. I'm having a conversation on high blood pressure. The 17th of May is annually recognized as the day to raise awareness on hypertension, hence the need to speak about it this morning. So if you have a question regarding hypertension, you can send a message to the WhatsApp line 0904 422 2939. If you'd like to call into the studio, the numbers are 0909 888 9939 or 0912 222 2939. What is the medically advised measurement for blood pressure so that we know? I know we've spoken about this over and over again. What is the acceptable number?
Okay. Like I said, usually the generally accepted value is 120/80. Now the upper one is the pressure at which blood saturates into the system. That's 120. The lower is the pressure at which the blood saturates the heart muscle itself. That's 80. So 120/80 is acceptable. If you have 110/70 is equally acceptable. But your blood pressure shouldn't be at any point higher than 140/90 millimeter of mercury. And that's the borderline blood pressure. And anything beyond that borderline, if it's recorded in more than 2 occasions, it becomes hypertension. So if you're checking and you're getting 130 is not high. Some people will call me and say, "Doctor, I got 140, it's high." Hello? Are you the one assessing yourself, or do you want me to assess you? Oh, sorry, sir. Then would you listen to me? Yes, I will listen. 140/90 is not high. It is normal. Sir, I said it is normal. All you need is to pay attention to your lifestyle and see how you can bring it a bit low to 120/80. But 140/90 is normal. It's normal. So if you have it between 110 to 140, okay, 70 up to 90, fantastic. But once it's going beyond that 140 or beyond 90, then you have to look into the lifestyle and whatever could be the cause.
Let's not even talk about the low blood pressure, because I hear that that is even more deadly than, the high blood pressure. So what's the accepted value when it gets low? What is the value that informs you that you need to pay attention to it?
Anything below 90/60.
90/60.
Yes, below
Wow.
90/60 will be judged as low blood pressure. As a matter of fact, some people, even by the time it's getting as low as 90/60, they start having issues. So we have to be careful about it.
Does anything inform you that it's getting low?
Yes,
As the-
dizziness, fainting attack, weakness of the muscles, the excessive sleepiness. Yes, and then some people will start feeling like they can perceive their heartbeat, like sitting quietly, you just feel like your heart is beating. Some will even say they feel like the heartbeat wants to cut. I don't know, such kind of feelings.
Wow.
Exactly. So anything of such, and it's common in women. Yeah, it's common in women. We are fast and furious now, so it's not common to find a man with low blood pressure. When you're already out, you want to hustle. You have a woman to impress. You have a woman to take care of. You're busy. Yes, woman will now she'll be the one to sit and cross her leg and say, "My bay is coming." They're the ones that will come down with BP of 90/60. Apologies to the women. No, I don't mean to be scornful. Okay, so that's it. So anything below 90/60 can be adjudged as low blood pressure, and it is dangerous. It kills, because we've seen cases of people with low blood pressure and they just drop dead. Yes, and the heart just stops. That's sudden cardiac death. So one has to be careful. It is feared. Because why is it feared? When the BP is high, you can take medications lower it. When the BP is low, what medication will you take to elevate it? There is no medication.
So how is the elevation done? How do you now correct it to having a normal blood pressure? Is that something that can be done to help someone? Because I know people are dealing with this as well.
All right, yeah, when you're having a low blood pressure, it's simple. All you need to do, get to the hospital. Is that you can't manage low blood pressures at home. It's dangerous. So get to the hospital. The doctors will infuse you with some saline-containing fluids and then monitor the BP. And then worst case scenario, they check for any causative factors that may make you present. And then if that is the hospital you use, there will be history of, or there could be histories that will point to it while the histories are being taken. So these are the things that you need to do. It's managed basically in the hospital because it can lead to heart failure, it can lead to sudden cardiac death if not monitored.
Okay, so does it mean you'll be admitted for that period where
Observed. The admission means basically observed, and if the BP normalizes, you now give counsels and instructions, and then you let them go.
All right, let's talk about the impact of obesity. We already mentioned this as a risk factor because, it's very possible that someone is obese and they don't know. Because I've heard that it doesn't quite show physically.
Yeah.
That you can be very looking like me and somewhat obese.
Sincerely, see, please don't come for me. Go for a proco doctor, not me. I still consider him as my boss in that area. Now, all of you that are in love with pizza, shawarma, barbecue, suya, asun,
I had
catfish,
noodles
pepper
too.
soup. Yes, processed food,
Processed
like
food.
noodles, as pasta. Let's call it pasta.
Pasta.
You can't do without all these things on a daily basis. Kudos.
Wait, does pasta fall into processed? It's not really.
Yeah, processed foods.
Oh.
Yeah. Kudos. See, it's not like these things are bad, but don't make it a daily habit. Just don't make it a daily habit because some of these things are highly fatty, and by the time you eat them on a daily basis, the one where you chop yesterday, the body never finish the digestion. You never, you still do your body, you still load another one. By the time you do your blood, in fact, there was a patient that the blood samples were taken, and by the time they spun the blood sample in the machine, the fat congealed so much that you could see the fat inside the tube, the sample bottle. It was so much. By the time they did the cholesterol level, usually it is between 50 and 200. Here, 383. And I just wondered, like, this is a human being having so much cholesterol and you are still alive. And at that point, what would you say? thank God that you are still alive. At least something brought you to the hospital, and he had to be placed on medication. So you have to be careful the way you consume all those fatty foods, processed foods, and co, because you will raise your cholesterol level by doing so, and it can block your blood vessel and then eventually cause stroke from hypertension.
What's the body mass? What's the value for body mass? That's okay.
Body mass that's BMI.
Index, yeah.
It should be between 19 and 21, or between 18 and 21. Anything above between 21 and 25, you will be tagged as overweight. Above 25, you will be tagged as obese. And then greater than 30, morbidly obese.
And there are people with such in-depth value.
You know, that's what I want to talk about, because I remembered for a lot of years, mine was 25, and I'm like, man, let me do this now.
Wow.
So I had to.
So for people who are on the very
weight.
big side, is it possible that, you know, their body mass is, can you be like big and not obese? Is that possible?
Yes, you can be big and well. If you say big and not obese, this is it. You know, to check for all this, you have to do the weight over height squared.
Okay.
So that means you have to be very tall. So when you're very tall, by the time you place your weight over height squared, then you should be able to get something. But the truth is that once your weight crosses a certain range, you can't avoid all that. You can't avoid coming into the circle of overweight. Yes, because the average weight for an average man is less than 90. Someone like me, I'm weighing 112. Thank God. I was weighing 124 at some point. I was just looking like those wrestlers with big chest and big arms and all that. Yes, I could actually lift a Micra vehicle off the ground.
You don't say.
Yeah. So I told myself, now this is it. You're a doctor. Now you're adding weight because you weight lift. Then you have to cut down the weight, because you are looking. I wasn't obese clinically, but by calculation, I was. So I have to drop my weight. So if you are there, you are eating, you are living life, enjoying yourself, and you are weighing above 100, and you're a woman, and you are not as tall as, you're not even up to 6 feet. Good for you. You should just make sure you plus that your weight divided by your height squared, and whatever the value is, you can let us know. So we'll tell you what, or you can even Google it yourself and see where you belong. So there's nothing, you don't, the weight will only create problem for you. So you have to watch it. And then, don't go for me, all these energy drinks, all these soft drinks, they will actually add more sorrows to you. So you do away with them.
It's not enjoyment. So you're eating rice. There has to be a soft drink beside it. Careful. Very careful. How consistent for people who don't have, I think it's become very laudable to see that most people now have the kids at home. We're seeing people investing in that.
Yes.
But
Wellness.
For people who don't have that, how often should they check blood pressure?
This is it. Once a month, check your blood pressure. Like I said, now, before we used to say about particular age group, 35 and above. Now, it doesn't. I've seen 17-year-old with high blood pressure. Yes, I remember in 2009, sorry. In 2009, I managed a 17-year-old boy, and unfortunately, we lost him because he came in with high blood pressure. Before you knew it, he had a kidney failure.
Wow.
Yeah, I told you that kidney failure is not far from hypertension, and then that's how he was lost in UCH, unfortunately. So we have to be very, very careful. So don't say because you are, I'm still in my 20s, nothing to me now, I'm enjoying myself. Please enjoy with sense. And if you are always in the habit of, you carry one plate of rice and you put soft drink, please, you see that soft drink, just drop it. Find a way to drop it, please. Let that drink be water, okay? Eat that food with water, nothing will happen to you. You will still be as healthy as a horse. But loading yourself with those excess calories, you're creating a lot of trouble for yourself. Remember, your insulin is there. Remember, when cholesterol is much, you're inviting obesity, you're inviting high blood pressure as well from hyperlipidemia. Let's be careful, please.
Fair enough. For the seasonings that we've talked about, salt, does it apply to other seasonings? Because some people would want to, since they say salt is too much of salt, rather, might cause or lead to hypertension. Let me now resort to the other cube seasonings. I can use 5, 6, 7.
No, you see, salt, anything salt related, Maggi, all those things, they are the same. They're in the same
category.
Yes. We're not talking of ginger. We're not talking about garlic. No, those ones are spices. They are spices. They are not what we're talking about. We're talking about salt and then whatever the cubes, I don't mention the names.
Yeah.
Whatever the cubes are, you have to do them in moderation. For me, I don't take salt.
At all.
I don't. I've since secondary school days. If I sweat, this usually. Do you remember keto sandal? By the time I wear them to school, I come back, you'll be seeing whitish coloration on the sandal. So until one day, out of curiosity, I just picked it and I just put it in my mouth, and it was highly salty. Like, this is the sweat from my leg. This salty. I had to go and meet my mom, and I noticed the change of her face. She wasn't happy because she used to have the BP issue. So she was like, of all things to inherit from me, that day she just grabbed me and took me to the hospital. And since then, I started getting the knowledge about BPs and management of BPs and all that, and I became careful with it. So one of the things they told her that day is when you are cooking food for everybody, separate. Once you are like, if the man used beans, I remember, once the beans is done, just scoop whatever he will eat, put in a smaller pot, add his own things, complete it, no salt, no nothing. In fact, I learned how to eat bland food, and I got used to it. It's more than 20 years now. I'm used to eating bland foods. So once the food is salty, no matter the hunger, it will disappear because I know that it will disturb my system. So when you keep saying, I can't do this, I can't do that, now lie. If somebody should put a gun to your head and tell you to eat rice without salt, you know you eat them.
You will.
You will finish it. So what are we saying? Why are we always denying that you can't do such? And at the end of the day, it's not for your own good. It is now. If I tell you salt is dangerous, salt is poison, let federal government just announce that salt has become poison. It has been noticed that salt is a poison that will cause this is in the nearest future. Now forget it.
Avoid it.
Nobody. People selling salt will run out of business.
It's the truth.
So why do we keep telling ourselves, I can't eat without salt drink. I can't eat without salt. We're just deceiving ourselves. So I always like to be very plain and straightforward, and I'll be very blunt with you Nigerians. I didn't say don't take salt. All I'm saying is reduce the quantity. Me, I don't take. That is for me. You are not me. I am not you. Am me you? Are you me? No. But what I'm saying is eat your salt in moderation. Small. Nah, I beg, small. Thank you.
All right, I have a question here from Dyer. Good morning to you, Doc. Can you talk about the impact of uric acid? I don't know.
Okay, uric acid. Yeah.
What's that?
I've
not heard of it.
So it's genetic. Even diabetes, they're both genetically transmitted. So yes, so if your parents, you're listening to me, your parents are hypertensive, don't think it won't get to you. Be careful. Oh. So it's best avoided than managed. And remember I said this at the beginning of the program.
Yeah.
So if you have a sibling or any of your parents having any of these hypertension or diabetes or all that, it means you should be careful yourself. So don't be the type that will take 2 bottles of Coke per day. Or you say one bottle a day and all that. Be careful, please. Even if you don't want to stop, it will be once a week. At least let it be something you look forward to. On Fridays, I always take a bottle of, fine. Yeah, at least that would make you happy. Like, when I go out on Friday, I will take, and then once you are done, you're like, till next week Friday. You can still enjoy life that way. Moderation is the key.
So lifestyle modification is just the only way for one to be careful, especially if you have a life history of people who are,
yes. Lifestyle modification and then checking. Once you modify your life, modify your food, modify the stress, and then sleep, do it with every form of emotional stressors, then you check.
So after checking, I'm given a drug.
Okay.
Is that how that plays out?
Well, if you need the medication, I said before you can diagnose, it will be 2 or 3 times.
Okay.
Now, you've done it 3 times, now it's elevated. The doctor will prescribe medications for you. And then, you see, management of hypertension is just like this mixer. That is called the console. You raise it, you check, you adjust, you check, it's going up again, you increase the dosage, it's coming down, you reduce the dosage. This doctor that will do that for you. He keeps checking. And then he now gives you all those rules, the do's and the don'ts of managing hypertension. And then you are obeying those do's and don'ts. You suddenly realize that he starts dropping the medications for you. And that's how lots of people have been free from medications, because they have adjusted and listened. And that's why I used to say, if you listen to your doctor, you will live long.
Well, fair enough. We've listened to you this morning, and I believe there's a lot to take home on hypertension, basically managing it this morning. Thank you so much, Dr. Chukwuma Okoli, for always being here and educating us on different health issues.
Thank you, sir.
All right, it's a wrap on Solutions Clinic this morning. We'll be back next week, Monday with another interesting conversation in the world of health. And I would like to put this out. If there are topical health issues that you like for us to pay attention to, you can send those messages. Like the uric acid, I'll have to do a research on it and probably fix a date to have a conversation on that. Thank you, Daya, for sending in that question. All right, have yourself a wonderful Monday. My name is Vic Riches. Good morning to you.